you, President. Today I rise to speak to the Libertarian Party motion, and the second time I've spoken on a motion prepared by Mr Limbrick. And I also believe it's in conjunction with those opposite the Liberal Party, which is not a big surprise. President, we won't be supporting this motion. The motion requests that under Standing Order 17.03, the committee requests the attendance of the Premier, the Honourable Jacinta Allen MP, to attend a public hearing at a date and time to be determined. The Premier provided evidence in her capacity as the former Minister for the Commonwealth Games delivery. The Chair be empowered to inform the Leader of the Government in the Legislative Council of this resolution and discuss the mechanism for the Council to consider a message to the Legislative Assembly requesting leave to be granted to the Premier to appear. This is an exercise in point scoring, and I'm disappointed that the precious little time that we have to spend in the Parliament sitting weeks is spent on motions like this. Continues to be discussed. When the Commonwealth Games needed to host the city to step up at the last minute, we were willing to help, but $6 to $7 billion for a 12-day sporting event is too much. We won't apologise for being fiscally responsible and putting to good use every single tax dollar in this state. In the face of these extraordinary numbers and unjustifiable cost-benefit analysis, we made the decision to not proceed before any major contracts had been signed, meaning costs incurred were relatively contained. Going ahead with this event, the damages that it would have been far worse than if we had not. A better use of taxpayers' money is the $2 billion package to ensure regional Victoria still receives the housing, tourism and sporting infrastructure benefits that would have been facilitated by the Games and more. President, this speech is going to get into the Westminster system, and it's been recognised that members hold immunities, privileges that other powers to represent their communities and their democratic constituency as a result of their role as a Member of Parliament. This doctrine is known as the exclusive cognizance. The independence of the House of Parliament means that a committee cannot claim authority over a member of another House, and that member holds immunities based on this independence. There are a lot of other traditions in this place as well. The black rod opens the door and closes the Legislative Council. You need to rise when the President comes in. You address members politely, or at least should, and address them by their title, the member for, the President or Acting President, Minister or Attorney, in the case of the Attorney General, or Mr or Mrs or Ms and more. It's part of the dignity of the office, and the traditions of this place and the other place go back a long time. As I said, they are formed from the Westminster system, which is supported by the views and practices of the British parliamentary system. This is Public Law 101. We have the concept of the separation of powers for a reason, and it's the cornerstone of our democracy. The Premier has answered every question she has been asked about the Commonwealth Games, and I saw that yesterday in question time in the other place, and several public servants and officials have attended and provided information to this committee. The reality is simple. The Premier's attendance at this committee is not required, and those on the other side of the House do not support this motion. Those on this side of the House should not support this motion. The members of the Parliament are responsible for their own houses, for the powers, the roles, their station and their functions. They should not be called before the other House in relation to those powers or functions. From the beginning, this has been a stunt. The opposition themselves aid and support our decision to withdraw the event and would have done so themselves. But it's all noise because we have a mandate to deliver, including a strong mandate to deliver from regional and rural communities, which is my time and time, year after year, election after election, as the new Premier herself knows from her election in a regional seat, rural and regional communities continue to turn to Labor to represent them. Let's look at the other places like the Bellarine and the beautiful peninsula that it represents, which Labor retained for a new fantastic member, and Bendigo West for the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly with a massive 64.62 party preferred and a mammoth 46.5 primary vote for Labor. Eureka, held by Miss Settle in the other place, is a 57.2 on a primary vote. Macedon, held by the Minister for Health in the other place, Minister Thomas, with almost 60% of the two-party preferred vote. The member for South Barwon had a similarly high vote, and of course something that I'm sure those opposite remember very well, the seat of Ripon, whose fantastic new member, hard-working local member Martha Haylett in the other place. Well done. And of course, Premier Jacinta Allen, almost a majority in her own right, 48.3 primary vote with a 60.82 party preferred, because regional communities get that Victorian Labor delivers for them, which includes a $2 billion regional package, which means $1 billion regional housing fund that will see more than 1,300 extra homes built across regional Victoria, 550 to deliver every one of the permanent new and upgraded sporting infrastructure programs planned as part of the Commonwealth Games, This is also $150 million for Regional Worker Accommodation Fund, which will provide grants for projects that will increase and supply of workers' accommodation in regional Victoria, and a massive boost of $150 million to regional tourism and events to ensure our regions have the best of everything on offer, with new events, new attractions and more accommodation. $40 million for the All Ability Sport Fund to remove the barriers of entry for people with a disability to get involved in the sports through grants, scholarships and mentoring. $60 million to Regional Community Sport Development Fund for initiatives that will encourage regional Victorian families and children to be more physically active. $20 million for regional tourism marketing to ensure our outstanding regional offering is marketed across the state, the country and the world. $20 million towards the new Aboriginal Economic Development Fund in recognition of central contribution of traditional owners in planning for the Games. $10 million to expand the Tiny Towns program to support small but important projects that will deliver better public places and spaces and supportive civic pride. And of course, $25 million in General Council support package. President, housing is so important to my community of Southern Metro and is one of the big priorities of the Allan Labor government. With the new Regional Housing Fund, this is going to be delivered and deliver big time, including more than 1,300 additional homes across regional Victoria. 100% of those 1,300 dwellings will be social and affordable housing, and the extra makeup between social and affordable will be determined through detailed planning and consultation, which is what our government does. Detailed planning and work, doing the hard but diligent policy work day in, day out, and these dwellings will be placed right across regional Victoria where they are needed most. And without the Games, we don't need to place these houses under the restrictions provided by the Commonwealth Games Federations, for instance, near completion venues. So this side of the chamber is committed to working with councils, regional partnerships and locals to determine this right mix. Regional Victoria will continue to be the destination that people want to visit, with all tourism regions hitting highs. Visitor spending in Phillip Island increased by 75%, and the High Country was up by 73%, and the Grampians has rose by 66% since 2019. This is thanks to our government's work in this space. $150 million in the Regional Tourism Events Fund, and ensure regions have the best of everything on offer, with new events and attractions and more accommodation, including $47 million for regional events will help Visit Victoria bring the biggest and best events to our region, bringing visitors and dollars to the communities right across the state. $78 million for regional tourism infrastructure to deliver projects to attract visitors to key destinations and support tourism businesses like wineries, breweries and distilleries, and add accommodation to the offering. $10 million to assist Victorian primary producers and ensure that the rest of the world gets to experience our clean and green produce, and to grow our food and fibre exports and encourage more Australians to buy Victorian. $10 million for regional tourism industry development to ensure Victoria's regional cities and towns have the skills, workforce and capacity to support our regional tourism business to grow and thrive. $5 million for regional multicultural festivals to support towns across regional Victoria to hold multicultural festivals such as Tet Chinese New Year, and after all of this, it's clear who supports our regional and rural communities. I thank the House.